Rare occasion, singing clutch. Welcome back and a lot of happiness to everybody in 2024. Today's video we have BMW 1 series with failed clutch, and I'm gonna show you how I'm replacing this clutch step by step. But before we jump in, I would like to say a massive thank you to all my subscribers, as channel has reached more than 210 subscribers. I understand that this might not be much for some, but to me it means whole world. Alright then, without any further ado, let's see what actually went wrong there. First things first, as we're gonna work around the started motor that has a live wire, I would recommend disconnecting battery as I'm doing it here. Battery on this car is located in the boot. And don't forget that this boot latch is electric, so before you close, engage the latch to close position so it doesn't shut close after you have done the repairs. Next we move to the under tray. As always, BMW has quite a lot of bolts for the under tray. They all seem pretty rusty. Last one under tray off. Let's move to the front under tray. Some of the bolts are rusted all the way through, and this is my look where I understand this is not gonna be easy. In total I had like four bolts that I have to use extra tools to get them off. Next we move to the exhaust. For that we can remove these clamps so they were out of our way. Wire brush, WD-40 to all the bolts and nuts that we're gonna remove. Next we open this exhaust clamp. I would not recommend put a lot of force as there's a flex pipe and it might break if you're using too big force. There's another bracket. WD-40 on these exhaust bushes. The way how I'm removing this exhaust or these types that slides each other on is I'm using two grips, and one I'm keeping stationary so it doesn't do tension on them. Flex pipe, and other one I'm twisting back and forward. It helps if you have somebody who can actually put the force and pull away while you're twisting it. The last thing is this bracket. So before we remove bracket, I'll secure with the gearbox jacks exhaust. Now I can remove it without worrying that the exhaust is gonna fall on me. Now the exhaust can come off. Gonna put that aside. Now we get access to this heat shield. Most of the nuts and bolts on this heat shield is rotten all the way through. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to save it at the end. Yeah, like this, not here. There's nothing left. I don't know why even I tried to do it, as it just crumbles away. Here we can see how much has all been rusted out. Next we move to the prop shaft. I would recommend markings, although there's no specific way how you meant to put it, but I would always recommend to put it as there is a cars that is balanced and all other things. So, and it only takes a couple seconds to mark it. Seems like it hasn't been moved for a long time, so it got right in there. So some prying and knocking is gonna be necessary. I put a little tension and just hit a little bit so it comes out. One more. And that's one side of the prop shaft is out. Now we move to the gearbox. Same thing, markings. This side came out easily. Now on the center bearing of this prop shaft, there's only one way how it's supposed to go, but you can fit that bearing upside down, and if you do so you're gonna have massive vibration as you're gonna start driving. So I just put markings so remember which way is down, just in case in a rush. I'm gonna put it upside down. Put these bolts back inside so it don't get mixed with other bolts. So as you can see, it spins around and one side is shorter than the other one. That's it, prop shaft is off. Now we can move to this DPF bracket. Next thing, reverse switch. I'm I'm removing the wire brackets that's been clamped onto the gearbox housing. Now the slave cylinder. Slave cylinder is held in by two 13mm nuts, one at the top, one at the bottom. Now slave cylinder out, you can tuck it away now. Now to these gear selector links. It's held in place by these small clips. And then there's another two clips at the another bracket. Basically it just slides in and held in place by the clip. There's another one on the other side. Now this link can come out. It got stuck, so I use a little pry tool and a little tapping. Now I'm gonna secure the gearbox, as I'm gonna remove this gearbox mount. These top nuts you just have to loosen up as they slide in. You don't have to remove them completely. And then 4 13mm bolts. And that's a mounting off. Now I can lower a little bit the gearbox down to get more access at the top, as there's another cable connected at the top. And what's left is just all bolts around the gearbox itself. So there's multiple bolts with different sizes. This bolt we're gonna leave as last one just before we're ready to remove gearbox off. I'm using multiple extensions to get access to the top bolts. There's one bolt at the very top that is hard to see and hard to get access to it. As you can see here, I got very long extension and I managed to locating the bolt, and now I'm just using electric ratchet to unscrew it all the way. If the bolt got stuck inside there, doesn't come out, you can use the magnet to pull it out. So here you can see I have removed all the bolts and I have put in the locations where they're supposed to go. As each bolt is different size, make sure you put it in the correct places back. And that's the last bolt left that we're gonna remove now, just before we're removing gearbox. All the bolts now remove and you can start wiggling the gearbox to get it off. I would recommend always ask somebody to give you a hand, as the gearbox is pretty heavy. Now we can see the clutch. So you can see the spring has fallen inside, that's why the clutch was not engaging. And the clutch pressure plate was scraping against the clutch fork. They might be sharp edges, so if you have same case as I do, just be careful. Let's move to the gearbox and we can see where it's been scraping. On this pin, as you press the clutch out, it comes out and it catches the pressure plate. And that happened because the spring collapsed inside and was not returning back anymore. And this is the plug at the top. And to remove it, you have to pry this clip upwards and then pull the cable out. So it's like different design like all other ones. So let's see what we have in this kit. That's release bearing. Clutch disc and clutch pressure plate. First impression looks same. Now let's start by changing release bearing and at the same time clean a little bit the clutch fork. Here we can see how much it took it off. So we can compare to the other side. It should be almost pointy. With little force, bearing should come out pretty easy. Yeah, that's been shattered. Check the sleeve for any imperfections. If you feel something that's not right, you might have changed the bearing, is gonna get sticky. So in this case, it's better to replace it now. On my occasion, still feels smooth. Let's compare old with the new. As we can see, new bearing doesn't do that much free play. And it stays in one position all the time. That's bearing replaced. Let's now remove all pressure plate with the clutch. Seems like a lot of pieces falling out. So this clutch had it. That's one of the pieces from the clutch. Now we can compare. So we can see thickness of the new one and old one. This occasion, old one side completely gone. Let's compare size of the new pressure plate. Same. Here we can see the spring has fallen inside and compared to the new one when it should be raised up. I'm not sure how these pressure plates works inside, but definitely something collapsed. I'm using the sandpaper to sand the surface for a better grip on the new clutch. New clutch goes inside. It's always recommended to use the clutch alignment tool, as I used to use a screwdriver, so as long as you can get it straight, it's gonna be okay. The torque spec for the clutch pressure plate bolts is 35 Newton meters. So now the gearbox can go back inside. I again recommend to ask somebody for help if you have somebody next to you. I'm not gonna hide, it took me some time to get the gearbox back inside, and you shouldn't be forcing it or forcing with the bolts, as I have heard that people online put the bolts inside, try to tie the bolt, and the gearbox bell housing snaps. So just take your time. All the bolts back inside. Now the top bolt is quite tricky to get inside. there's no space for hand. Well, if you have really small hands. My occasion, I'm just gonna use a piece of old glove, put the bolt inside so it doesn't fall out, and try to fish it back inside. Once that's been done, can we screw all the way inside and then tighten. I could not find the spec for the bell housing bolts, so just tight. So we connect both plugs back inside. So this is for the reverse, and the one at the top I believe is for to tell you what gear it sits inside. Now the slave cylinder goes back inside. And the gearbox mount. Once this has been done, the jack can come off. Gear selector link pins. They just slide inside. Now the other link also slides inside and then secured by 2 clips. Now we can tie these 2 13mm nuts. Exhaust bracket or DPF bracket. Two bolts for the prop shaft. Keep turning till your markings aligned. Same thing on the differential side. Now the center bearing can be secured. And heat shield goes back inside. I found couple nuts that I can use for the heat shield, so I use them to secure it. Spray WD-40 or any other grease to help to slide the exhaust back inside in those bushings. At this point, just wiggle it back and forth and it should go inside. Pretty easy. Now secure the clamp. These brackets goes inside for the under tray. Now this under bracket or middle bracket. Now the front under tray. And the middle under tray. Now we can connect back the battery. Close the bonnet, as anyway we're not working there. No more singing clutch. And on this we have come to an end on this episode. Thanks for watching, and if you like, please subscribe to my channel as more videos how to is on the way. Your value mechanic out.